here we are. I'm gonna just rearrange some of this stuff just a little bit, sorry. Ugh. We're here, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Today's a good day. It's bittersweet, but it's a good day. And I just want to thank everybody for being here this morning. So bear with me, I have some things that I certainly need to say, because there's been a lot of questions this morning as to why now, what are you doing? And I want to explain that. I owe that explanation to everyone. We've been planning this day for quite some time now. I know it might come as a surprise, but this has been probably about 2 months in the making. And here's why. So this week, the City Council, our legislative body, has an item on their agenda. It's called the year-end resolution. It's a customary, it's usually a mundane report that is voted on after each of the fiscal year ends. It's the mechanism by which we officially close all the books from the previous year, and we are able to start our audit process after that. Everybody from the tax office loves that. Right, Cheryl? This year, it's going to be more than just a routine vote this year, happening tomorrow night. And it's why I needed to couple it with my announcement this week. I'm doing it because this is the first time in 11 years that the City of New Britain will finish its fiscal year on an exceedingly positive and strong fiscal note. It's for the first time. It'll be the first time that we're able to show our community that New Britain's finances are not only structurally solvent, but they're strong, they're stable, and they're saving for tomorrow. And everybody knows my story here. Over the last 11 years, every single decision that I have had to make, every budget, every union negotiation, every consolidation, every debt restructuring, every credit rating agency presentation, every mid-year review, every move we had to make was centered around the fact that our city never had enough money to pay our bills. And I'm proud to say that that's not true anymore. For the first time in 11 years, the city's closing out a fiscal year where we have made payroll seamlessly. We've made our debt payments, we're keeping our obligations to our employees and retirees, we're fully funding our pension and healthcare systems, and we're continuing to make large-scale investments in our infrastructure, schools, and people. And most importantly, we're doing that while saving so that we don't have to increase taxes and should not have to increase taxes on our people for the foreseeable future. And people are going to ask, right, how did we do it? And two immediate things come to mind. One, it's the confluence of the city actively and aggressively managing its finances. And two, the never-ending pursuit of state and federal funding, which have allowed us to continue making these tremendous investments in the city with only minor budgetary impacts. And as I wrote these remarks, I thought about the amount of sleepless nights that I've had thinking about how to save money and how to increase revenues. I thought about the hours spent in the mayor's conference room, scouring through line items of each budget. I thought about the dozens of PowerPoint presentations, the endless preparation of trying to impress our investors, all while having tumultuous times with our staff and some pretty unfriendly political environments. I think about my most trusted people throughout this whole process. Dick Deveridge, our former underwriter, Bruce Treadwick, my former bond counsel, Danny Salerno, my former majority leader and now city treasurer, John Healy, John Perugini, Chris Wolf, God rest his soul, Gennaro, Justin, Jody Brock. I don't know if I ever did a good job telling the story to the public because I never wanted people to worry. And I think that that's a fundamental characteristic of a leader. You never want people to worry. You just want them to know that you've got it under control and that you're going to handle it. When I first took office in November of 2013, New Britain was at a precipice. Years of spending beyond our means had brought the city to the brink of bankruptcy. We were this close to having to turn the keys over of our finances to the state of Connecticut. Those times when we weren't going to make payroll, we had to issue tax anticipation notes because we weren't going to have enough money to pay our bills. There were times where I scratched my head thinking, how could anyone let some of these things happen? How could we get to this point? Is it even financial malfeasance? I'm still shocked to this day that those things were allowed to happen. And let it be a lesson for everyone here that's in a leadership role that all it takes is one bad budget to screw up a town for decades. That's why it's really important who you vote for and who you put in office to take these leadership positions on. And in the beginning, I surrounded myself with municipal finance professionals. And after 11 years, I became one myself. One of the most important parts of this job is that it requires integrity and honesty, because if you don't have that, especially in your budgeting process, it'll take you 11 years to fix it. 11 years, 2 massive nationwide financial crises, a worldwide pandemic, and here we are now. We're coming out on top. And that's my legacy here.
Yes. Way to go. Yes.
There are certainly some who have been critical of my efforts, but I sincerely doubt they'd ever be able to do what we've done here over the past decade. It's a legacy that I'm proud to leave behind for whoever comes next to lead our city. It's a legacy that will be talked about for many years to come, and a legacy that I will be turning over to a new mayor next year. I'm here today, obviously, to share with you that I will not be running for mayor of the city of New Britain in 2025. After 12 years, we've completed our mission here. This is not easy for me, as I'm sure you can imagine, but I stand here with an immense sense of pride, knowing that this legacy will live on, that this era will set our city's government on a better path for our future. And that was the goal the entire time, to leave our city better than I found it, to grow our communities, to reignite that spark that New Britain once had, and we did it. We've changed New Britain from a financial charity case to a financial role model for other Connecticut cities. We've rebuilt or are rebuilding 4 entire school facilities, Gaffney, Smalley, Chamberlain, Holmes, but it's not just the bricks and mortar in our school system, it's about what happens inside of those schools. And I couldn't stand by and allow another generation of kids to go through a school system that was rated at the bottom. So I became a fierce and vocal advocate for improving the quality of public education. Ended me up on the Board of Regents for higher education too, but that's another story for another time. But that's what led to significant leadership, policy, and curriculum changes. And those changes are helping move us out of the bottom of the state's educational basement and are preparing our children for success today. If you need additional evidence of the work we've done over the past 11 years, just take a look around. I've led the transformation of our downtown, paved the way for development projects in every corner of the city. In addition to the nearly $45 million spent implementing our Complete Streets Master Plan, we're witnessing an influx of private development like the likes of which hasn't been seen in decades. Notable projects over here like the Brit, the High Railer, the renovation of Mount Pleasant that's happening. These are projects that are focused on providing affordable housing, and affordable housing for seniors too, like the Ellis Block at 321 Ellis Street, all geared towards 55 and over. Right now, there's over $235 million in private development dollars that are pouring into this city to help make our vision a reality. Private development dollars. So for everything you hear about all the grant money and the state money that we take, there's twice as much going into here coming from private people. Yeah. Our city's parks and green spaces are world class. But a decade ago, many had fallen into disrepair, and we made the wise choice to invest in them. Over the past 11 years, we've made significant upgrades at Osgood Park, Stanley Quarter, Chesley, AW, just to name a few. We've touched almost every park in this community. These projects have provided a direct and palpable improvement in the quality of life for residents in all our neighborhoods. But while the successes on critical issues like our finances, schools, housing, parks, roads, water and sewer systems, and public safety are all important, nothing has been closer to my heart than the work we've done to combat the issues of homelessness and addiction in New Britain. The city's opioid task force, the homeless plan, and the local prevention council have all been brought together under that umbrella of a new program that we created called New Britain Recovers. And it continues New Britain's tradition of compassionate service and care for those who have encountered difficult struggles in their lives and who need a helping hand up. New Britain Recovers is that consortium of individuals, organizations, and community resources that provide services in these critical areas, and they're more important today now than ever. Today, New Britain Recovers has become a role model program for Connecticut cities, earning accolades from recovery professionals and elected leaders from both parties alike. And that, my friends, is a record that we can all be proud of.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, of course, I'm not walking away at this very moment. I still have over a year's worth of work to complete, and my foot will remain on the gas pedal until our final day here. But at this time, it's only fair that I announce my intentions to all of you that for the first time in 11 years, instead of prioritizing our city's future, I can prioritize my own.
Yes, yes.
And
well deserved, well deserved, well deserved, yes.
And I don't know what that is at the moment. I truly don't. But I know that I can't effectively do that without closing the door on my time here as mayor. I was 26 years old when I got elected. I'm still 26. I was elected at 26 years old, and this city took a huge chance on me and my team, and we didn't shrink from that challenge. Along the way, I grew just as much as our city has and as our city did. I mean, figuratively and quite literally, for every new development in the city, there was a new development in my life. Getting married, thank you for everything. Oh my God, having our daughter, going back to school, and I graduated with my master's degree in public finance and public administration. We had our son. Each one of those groundbreaking moments for this community in my life came along a groundbreaking moment for our community. And I want to thank all of you for being there along with me, along with us for each one of those moments, and for supporting me through it all. I am grateful, I am thankful, I am truly blessed to have been provided this opportunity. I'm going to have a lot of time left to say all of my thank yous, but I really couldn't let this moment go by without framing it for each of you to show how important our financial journey has been to my legacy and to my time serving as your mayor. I love you all, and thank you so much for being there for me throughout this time. I'm happy to take any and all questions about me running for governor now. Go ahead. I'm ready.
Is it gonna happen?
I genuinely don't know, Angelo. I know that I'm certainly, the pieces are coming together, but I know that I have to look at that and take that very seriously. It's not something I just want to jump into. I tried that in 2018. I know what it takes, but what I do know is that I won't be able to do that and do it effectively if I am mayor at the same time. I've got to be able to give my all to that if that's where I want to go.
I remember when you were elected, I think you were either the youngest or one of the youngest.
Yeah.
Come from the history of politics in this town. A lot of people want to know what your future was. Is it time for you as a Republican to take the party somewhere else?
I think, I've never been anything other than a registered Republican. I've been loyal to my party since day one. And I think that came with me having to convince a lot of people that it's okay to vote for a Republican, even if you're not. And we've been incredibly successful at that, showing a different way. And I think I've made a mark for myself on that. I was never, a line chower. I always kind of, went back and forth. I've been pretty moderate and think that's pretty defining for me, but it's I'll say who raised me in politics too. My first boss, Congresswoman Nancy Johnson, my second boss, Governor Jody Rell, both very moderate Republican women, and they helped shape who I am. So I think that if I am to continue in my political journey, that will certainly be at the forefront of my mind too. What is the cliche saying? Every new beginning comes from some of their beginning's end, right? And I think, I've got to close this door before I can open another one. And I really have to talk with my husband too and make sure that he's okay with that, so. Have I thought about Congress? Everybody's been asking me to do that for years. I'll say no, and it's a huge risk just because I have little babies and mom has to be there for them, instead of on a plane back and forth to Washington, D.C. 4 times a week, which, working for Congressman Johnson, I saw that, and it's a difficult thing to manage. So when I say about needing my husband's permission, he definitely would not be happy about that one.
What did you learn from your experience in 2018 that you might be able to apply going forward?
Sure, a lot. You go through that whole process, the fundraising is terrible. That's why I know that I've got a finite period of time to have to make that decision. We're not independently wealthy here. We run on loyalty and love. We don't necessarily run on an abundance of cash. So I would need that time to certainly raise the money, which means I would need to make a decision early on in 2025. I think that was the first thing that I learned. The second thing is that, I can't be, I've got to make the decision, stick with it, and go with it instead of, just kind of like dipping the toe in, and so I know that my clock is ticking there too.
So is the goal early 2025?
I think for anyone who's thinking about running for governor, it's going to be early 25 that they're going to have to make that decision for sure, including Governor Lamont. The clock is ticking for him too, because there's plenty of people that are interested on his side as well in that position. Good. Thank you all so much. I love
Congratulations, Mayor. You were phenomenal.
you. Thanks. Jerry, come on, really?